Just to give a perspective, why are the South states a little spectacle or that really worried is, I think the South state really displayed the kind of what a population measure which was happened way back, I think a decade back.
Hmm.
When the government said, I think we need to have a control over the population. I think the South stayed very disciplined themselves in terms of educating the people and getting a kind of a control system. But and also they were promised to get the equal number of support, okay, to that effect from the government. So the South have a different kind of a reason to have their grievances forward. At the same time, with this delimitation, there is a kind of a design which is being set. Now, if you go by the same logic of the Home Minister saying that you will not lose out on your existing number of seats, fine, point taken. At the same time, if you are going to use the same formula, the population of 20 lakhs per MP, then definitely it's a very, very different dimension altogether. So the South, technically, which is at the what a lower end of the overall population, which is close to 23.57% of the overall population, which actually will lose out on the ratio of if you're able to delimit, it's going to come down to 19.85%. Whereas the states like Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, and to an extent West Bengal, from 36.64% overall would actually increase it to 43.35%. Now you just look at the design. So we are in the times of Hindi speaking. Okay, we are not okay with imposing on the Hindi. But if you look at the delimitation formula, which will which will help the what is state which are what is currently ruled by BJP by design or without design, okay, the what is the parties in South are going to get affected. I actually fully acknowledge your point, sir. If the what the Home Minister or government is saying that the South will not lose out, it is still a loss to the entire what is say election system. Because from 543, if you are able to go by the same formula for 20 lakhs, the exact number what the government is projecting is 848 seats. Now look at the what a new Parliament House has been also designed in the same what is a pattern. So I said 888. Yes, I think they're somewhere close to that number. So I think what is going by that, I think in any case, what the South is going to get lose out on the system. And in case if you look at the smaller states like Kerala, I think you're right. I think they might even lose out on what is a 2 or 3 more seats. So with that perspective, I would also want another important speaker, Joshna. Ma'am, your first view on the delimitation process.
I started my this thing presentation, or each political leader has to provide employment to their cadres. So the same MLA is contesting for 7 times, 8 times. What about the freshers? Many of the people, they want to become MLAs, they want to become MPs, but the seats are limited. So there is a lot of pressure on the political parties and political leaders also to have more seats. So the conclusion of that meeting is you do delimitation for the states, state assemblies, but freeze this parliament thing for another 25 years. That is what is the final, I think, ultimate outcome of that meeting. And also they want to have another meeting in Hyderabad.
Yes,
So if you see Article 173, it allows for the state assemblies also to have the delimitation after the census.
you're
So
right.
they don't want 82 to be implemented, but 173 to be implemented. That is what is the thing. And another this thing is about the southern state losing out on the delimitation formula if you go blindly by the population. But actually, the constitution says you have to go by population only, because Article 82 and 173, they link about, they only talk about census. So if you want to have another criteria like devolution of funds from the central, maybe the finance commission funds also, there is a formula. I think population has about 19 or 20% of the weightage or something like that. So they are saying that have some other formula for this delimitation. Don't just go by the population also. What Duvuri Subbarao Garu says in one of the articles, the ex-RBI governor. He says, use 2011 population as the base for the delimitation and the central transfers. Freeze this norm for 25 years to prevent penalizing state that succeeded in population control. Gradually implement delimitation over 20 years starting from 2031 with 20% seat adjustment every 5 years. So this is another suggestion given by Sri Duvur Subbarao. He says don't do it in one stretch. Start in 2031 and every 5 years. So add 20% like that so that you can have a better perspective. So otherwise, if you just do on population, then this is going to have an impact. That is one of the suggestions he made. So in fact, if the parliament wants to do something, first of all, they have to bring out a constitutional amendment. That 82 and 173, they need to have, after the census, the formula for delimitation is like this. So whether they are going to do this, because ultimately it is politics. Ultimately, the political parties have to decide. And because if any party captures UP and Bihar, that is sufficient. So they can rule the nation. So that is what is the smaller parties or the regional parties they are worried about. So that is where the issue is coming up.
But BJP says it wants to put through this particular amendment as per constitution only.
Yeah.
Yeah. In proportion of increasing this population and all that, it is the impending need, what BJP says.
Yeah, but
I fully agree, sir. I fully agree on that, what you point. But however, actually, if you look at the last census to the next census, which we are actually supposed to do in 2021, I agree there was a COVID. But what stopped the government to do the census in the year 2022 or 23? They knew for a fact that 24 is the election. So they can't take chances. So I think even the government is played it very, very smart there. So I'm sure I think the people on the in the leadership would have had a different what is the thought process. If the government would have changed, okay, it would have been a different scenario now.
Will it make any difference with regard to the representation of women leaders and voters?
No, sir. Actually, if you look at now, what happens to today we are talking about delimitation. Okay, that is one part of it. The second part is, okay, what happens to the SC and SC/ST quotas?
Yes.
Okay, now it's a very different subject altogether. Yeah. So, and also the states which were highly disciplined in terms of getting the population, okay, which was to be rewarded. So, what happens with those formulas?
Please.
Yeah.
Yes,
so, as a common citizen of India, if I look at it, first thing I would look at from my MP, what is my expectation from my MP is approachability. If you look at now with 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs or whatever number of people these MPs are able to cater, what happens to their focus areas and their performance as such? That is one of the criteria which I look at it. Another thing is, will the southern states who are all basically ruled by Congress, will they speak the same language if they have central government also as Congress? So will they stand change and that time they will say it's okay, or they're still going to continue to oppose this point, which is not very clear to me as a point of this thing. And if you look at the third point, if you look at which I'm not talking only about the SC/STs or a woman or this thing, but if you look at a religious way also, we all know which religion has more population growing day by day. So for BJP party also, is it really very encouraging to have this delimitation to be put up? Because we are all trying to make it a political thing, but we look at the performance aspect of the MPs, or if you look at a common man's perspective of what we have to get from them. So this, and accordingly, the budget and finance also needs to be increased, and the problems also needs to be addressed more vigorously in the parliament. which today I see there's a lot of lag. It doesn't matter which politician, which political party person is going there, but there is definitely a lag. So we have to develop that kind of a mindset also when we are talking about this delimitation, because obviously as our in any company, like, and I'm an entrepreneur, if my turnover is increasing, I don't expect the same number of workers to bring me the same turnovers. Today I have 200 crore turnover. Tomorrow when I want to go 500, obviously I will plan everything bigger. Like, see, similarly, as a country also, if I'm looking at it from the increasing population aspect of it, then I have to plan everything bigger. And today Modi ji is talking about the 5 trillion economy and whatever it is. So then accordingly only everything keeps changing, the budgets and the way people have to be looked upon. So my view on this is, if people are taking this kind of a for everything, there is a, what I would say is a divisive mindset for some reason that has been developed in all of us. But if you keep these divisive things apart and look at it from a more from a business aspect, or from a performance aspect, or from a national development point of view, how do you look at it? Is there any other country from where we can learn some lessons out of it, which unfortunately I see very less, because you other country, you have China, which is not a democratic country. So how we are going to learn these lessons, or how we are going to put up these things for some time, if we can put these divisive things, like, South states are doing it. And I also don't know what exactly the government has done in terms of controlling the populations, or in terms of doing basically doing better things for the southern states, that today some other government comes and takes credit for what the other governments have done, in terms of population control also. So these are some of the questions which I have, and I personally feel it is very important to increase the number of parliamentarians, and so that people will get more benefited in terms of their approachability and their way of addressing the people's problems. Of course, what I'm talking in the present political scenario is a very idealistic, but that is the way intellectuals have to drive this nation, and make sure that these things are also spoken about, and not just the parties, which party will get more seats or which will not get less seats, and all those kind of things.
So I think I'll try and, though I think I was supposed to ask the question, not the answer, but I think I will want to try and give my perspective. See, I think we have, as a world, we have evolved from a paper and pen to a AI today. So I think having the what a number of count, or what is managing people, or getting any kind of a report on the ground, I think it's not a one hell of a task. It's very easy these days. The only thing is, it's been debatable for almost 4 decades or 5 decades, I would say. Okay, why are the educated people are not what are coming into the political system? If you have educated people coming into this system, okay, do we require so many number of MPs to run your system? Now, while I say this, in fact, the state government in Karnataka, as well as the what is a parliamentary there, most of the MPs have got an increment, okay, for whatever they have appointed newly and all that. But who is actually questioned them on their performance? Okay, as a government, anytime what they come and given their report cards that, okay, this is a performance, so they get a kind of an increment. Never in the history of this country. So we are actually, it's not about the Congress or BJP. Today, the opposition are all ganged up against the government. Okay, this was not the case, I would say, much prior to, let's say, 2014 or 13 types. We had even the BJP going very aggressive on the Congress when they were ruling. But when it came to the national topic, both the opposition and the ruling party came hands in hand, and they decided what is good for the country. Today, the entire scenario is very, very different. Today, nobody is against the government. Nobody is against the opposition. We are all only looking at the logical conclusion. The people of this country do not want the more number of MPs or more number of delimitation. All this are uncalled for, though it is practically important. But what the people of this country require is growth, better infrastructure. We do not want we are a very, very diversified country. Okay, we have hardly seen this kind of a divide in the system, caste, creed, community. In fact, even for me, just coming from the banking perspective, I've been in the banking industry. We never spoke this language at least a decade back. So we
Yes.
had a very kind of a different system to run this government. We need to have a stronger opposition to whatever pull down the government to make them work efficiently. But that is not the case today. For example, to just give you a perspective, Nagpur is one of the most peaceful city, but I've never heard anything like that happening on the Hindu, Muslim, whatever issues are happening. So why this is happening? If the governments are together, if the people who are being elected to work for the people, and if the government and the opposition are working hand in hand, we would never see such situation or anything like this happening. Okay, I think world is evolved. And just coming back to the delimitation, honestly speaking, for me, at this stage, okay, where the country is progressing, okay, where we are looking at how do we reduce cost and bring in the efficiency, I don't think so. The delimitation can be postponed. There is no any dead hurry for us to go and increase the seats, or there is no any dead hurry to go and increase the number of MPs, because we would want the existing MP to perform better. Okay, when is the last an MP coming on board and this is my report card or this is my progressive card? Okay, I think they're all accountable first for that. Not about 20 lakhs or 30 lakhs. As a common man, for me, with 543 or even 1,000, it doesn't matter. Is my MP, whom I elected, I voted, is able to give the whatever promise, or is he was able to deliver? So that is what my viewpoint is. But yes, going back by one logic of the corporate entity, what Madam spoke, like you have the organization growing from, let's say, from 50 crore going up to 100 crores or 200 crores. Obviously, the capacity has to grow. But look at the way the world is evolved today. Today, all the paper and pen work is being technically is actually moved from a digital world. Today, if you have to verify, if you have to validate, we have every system on a press of a button, we are able to get that information or documents, which is replaced by a human. So we don't require a large entity. We only require to invest on a better technology, a better platform. Now, even you look at the Aadhaar system or your a company registration system today, the government is invested on those technology. So you don't require a human intervention to get that kind of productivity. So just coming back to the point, I'm sure I'll also ask our expert speaker Lakshmi sir to also give your view on the feedback which Madam gave. But to sum it up, I think I'm absolutely fine to have 543 at this stage. We are in a growing situation now. We are a developing country. We don't require a kind of instability bringing in between the opposition and the existing government. The government needs to look at something bigger. What do you, sir?
Yeah. Actually, the basic purpose of MPs and MLAs also we need to understand. MPs are supposed to sit in the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and they are supposed to make legislations for the people. Their job is to sit in the Lok Sabha and also in the state legislature and enact legislations for the better living of the people. When it comes to implementation, it comes to the bureaucracy or the executive in the political only. So that means the chief minister, the council of ministers, and the bureaucracy, they are supposed to implement it. So the implementation part goes to the bureaucracy and the ministry. So MPs do not have much role in actual implementation. There are so many committees in the parliament also. What they do is they sit and they submit reports, and accordingly, if there is any requirement of a legislation. So the number is not going to make much difference because we have to make the governance more effective. That is very important. The bureaucratic system and the chief minister and the council of ministers, they should be more responsible to the people. That is where the requirement is. But generally what we expect is, we expect the MPs and MLAs to solve all our problems. So people go queuing up before MPs and MLAs for their problems. Actually, the bureaucracy has to be hauled up for this. Why these people are coming to me? An MP should ask the bureaucracy. Actually, you are supposed to solve the issues of the people, and why they are coming to me. So they should improve the working efficiency of the bureaucracy so that the governance will be much better. So that's why the Prime Minister also said, less government and more governance. So this is where we are all banking upon. So that needs to be increased. So the number will not make much difference in this aspect if you take, as Dr. Kumaran is saying, let us freeze this number. Number is not going to make, it is the quality that is going to make the difference. That is what you are talking about. But now if you look at the elections, who are getting elected? So people who can invest more. So they are the people who are getting elected, especially in the southern states. When I joined politics, people ask me how much money you have, how much money you are going to distribute to the people. So that is where the politics have come down to that level. So on an average, if you take Andhra Pradesh, each MLA is spending about 20 to 30 crores. If you come to the MPs, they are about 100 to 150 crores. So this is what is the cost. So if you see all people who have money, so they are coming from service, it has gone to the investment politics. That is what has become, it has almost become a business. So a man coming with an investment of 30 crores in the 5 years, he would like to make more money so that he can get the money to invest in the next election. So this is what is the rat race that is going on. So we need to improve the electoral system and the electoral reforms. Further, we have suggested so many reforms to the Election Commission of India also. Why don't you go for representative, proportionate representation? Why don't you make voting compulsory? And then, of course, Aadhaar and voter identity card linked. There are so many things which we suggested so that people take part in the governance of the country. Otherwise, what is happening is people are thinking 5 years, elections come, the moment they go and vote, their responsibility is over. But there is no system of recall. I mean, the MLA or MP for 5 years, they are there. They can change their parties. They can go to some other party. The speaker is not taking a decision regarding the change of party. So ultimately, the Supreme Court matters have come to the Supreme Court. About this anti-defection law also, we have made an anti-defection law. Schedule 10 is there, but hardly it is implemented. Speakers are sitting on the resignations or they are not deciding this. So the entire tenure is getting over. And also, today, if you see, 42% of the parliamentarians have criminal cases against them. If you come to the state of Andhra Pradesh, it is 79%. So these are the kind of people who are getting elected. So instead of waiting for the case to get over and finally getting up in conviction or acquittal, what we have suggested is the moment charges are framed against any politician, he should be debarred from contesting from election till the case is decided. Otherwise, cases are taking 15 years, 20 years. People are doing 2, 3 tenures as MPs, MLAs and all with the criminal cases on them. So basically, as I mentioned, what we need is quality. We need to educate people. Election Commission of India has to play a very significant role in this. Election Commission of India cannot be an event manager. I always say, they conduct elections and they take a press conference. The elections were conducted very peacefully. So then they will wait for next elections to come. During these 5 years, what improvements or what reforms you have brought? If you see, most of the electoral reforms are brought in by some conscious people going to the Supreme Court of India and getting judgments. Lily Thomas, or you take any other case. But Election Commission of India on its own, what it has done, that also needs to be looked into. So Election Commission plays a very important role. So these are some of the things I feel we should sensitize people and we should make them student body elections. There are no student bodies in the universities. Even UGC is continuously writing to the universities, hold elections, student body elections, let young leadership emerge from the universities. As we fought the Indian independence struggle, to students from the universities and colleges, they fought for the independence. So the leadership has started from there. But now, no university is conducting elections. So the students also, they are not getting into the mold of elections, and also their prominence or their importance in the getting included in the process of democracy or the process of electioneering in this country. So this is where we need to go down to the bottom, and you should make basic changes so that, and also divisive politics, as Ma'am was mentioning, as Dr. Kumaran was also mentioning. So this is the concept of divide and rule. The same thing is continuing. So that's why if you go for proportionate representation, let political parties get seats as per the number of total share of votes they got. In that case, all political parties are going to be represented. Suppose if you see the difference between voting percentage between Aam Aadmi Party and Bharatiya Janata Party in New Delhi is around 2%. But you see the vote difference. If you take the case of Andhra Pradesh, the party which got around 40% of the votes, they could get only 11 MLA seats. So if this is the case, then how the people are going to be represented? Brute majorities are also dangerous in the democracy. So it leads to autocracy. So we need to discuss on all these issues. So such discussions do not take place in the parliaments. And also delimitation and women reservation, that's what Madam was raising also. Actually, during the discussion on women reservation bill, MP Kanimoli has raised this issue of delimitation. The first discussion on delimitation, how southern states are going to be affected, was raised by her during the discussion for the reservation for women, women reservation bill. So that is how the whole thing has started. So as you said, quality is very important. Whom we are electing, the people should realize, and the caste, religion, all these things are playing havoc in the electioneering process, because I have gone through the system of elections. I have contested twice. So I know what are the intricacies and what are the difficulties and what type of people are getting elected. So this is not good for a democracy. We all need to have serious thinking on this. And as responsible citizens, we need to take some stand. So that is how I react, Dr. Kumar.
Fantastic, sir. I think I'll just add up 2 points. I think this particular name, when it comes to elections and electioneering of our country, this one name is a kind of a name I'm sure I think nobody would forget. T.N. Seshan. Okay, he actually really, defined what exactly an election commissioner has to play a role. In fact, he went on to supersede the most powerful people in this country. And he made sure there was an absolute robust system which was built in, and this is the way election has to be done. So, okay, where are the TS agents of this world now? So we don't even remember who was the last election commissioner of this country. Or even I don't even remember who's the current election commissioner of this country.
When he was there to reduce his power, the election commission was made into a multi-body. There was only one election commissioner. So it was made into 3. There were 2 more election commissioners were brought in, so that when there is a dispute, they go per election, and definitely Sessions' word will not be counted. So that is how they wanted to dilute the system. Yeah.
No wonder to appoint the chief justice of this country. Okay, they have actually changed what is the law.
Yeah.
So the home minister and the prime minister decides the chief justice, which was not the case earlier.
Chief election.
Anyway.
Chief Election Commission.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that, for all the kind of credentials Lakshmi Narayan Garu holds, when he was contesting in the elections, I know the criteria for which people were asked to vote is also the basis of caste, which caste he belongs to. But the kind of credential he carries, and we were very happy at least one intellectual had come and started putting himself in the front run rather than always behind the politicians. But unfortunate that is the kind of this thing we are all having. So
what a point or what a madam raised. I think what a West Bengal is actually done the walk the talk, because though what a Mamata Banerjee comes from a different kind of a politics and all that, but I think she was the one woman power. She proved that actually she exactly stood by her word. So though I think we were actually debating on 33.3% of the 33% of the women. In fact, she was the only one in the entire country who could actually allow so many number of women to contest and win. It's not about only giving seats. She also ensured maximum number of women are in the parliament today. So I think the existing government has to, and also the other political party has to take some kind of a learning from there as well. It's not only about just doing delimitation. If you're going to talk about women power and if you're going to empower them, you have to literally walk the talk. Yeah. So that's my view, sir.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I mean, because the political parties have to take a call. Why you need to have, because when I was in Maharashtra, I was going to various societies. They are saying that government has to get a bill or an act so that the pillion rider also has to wear a helmet. So I said, why are you waiting for the government to do that? Why don't you start? Society A started this, Society B will take over, Society C. So for that, everybody wants the government to bring in a legislation and they enjoy in breaking the legislation. That is what is seen generally in the country rather than following it. So instead, if a country which has so many legislations is the least governed country. I always say, we need to have minimum legislation so that maximum responsibility will be on the citizens to have their own code of conduct and they have to follow that. That is how we have to inculcate, because ultimately the political cleansing is the only alternative that is there for the country. If you want to clean a ladder, you have to start from the top. If you start cleaning the ladder from below, by the time you reach the top, your own feet will be soiling the ladder. So instead, start cleaning the ladder from the top. By the time you come down, the whole ladder is clean. So cleansing is required at the top level. So political cleansing or political this thing is the main reason for all the things happening in this country. Let us hope one day will come where you have clean politics and better people sitting there in the parliament and the assemblies. Yeah.
I
Thank you for your
really
valuable
appreciate, sir,
insights,
for your
sir.
wonderful insight.
And,
We are looking
yeah.
forward for more such
Yeah,
feedbacks
yeah.
and such great insights, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Prakash garu. Just you have to
Thank you,
excuse me. Ma'am,
Thank you.
Madam,
Thank
madam, you have anything to sum it up, madam?
As we already summed it up, it is a quality, that's what people are saying. But I still feel that, because it is a place which is today, 500 people were controlling the lives of 50 crore. Today, how 500 people can control the lives of 140 crore? So there has to be more brainstorming, more people adding into the coterie of decision making. That is the view I have personally. So it need not be limited to 888 just because you have only so many seats to sit. But I feel it has to increase more, because that is the way. What you say today, because you don't have quality. At least if you have quantity, amongst that, even 10% are sincere, it will be good. 500 people, 10% are sincere versus 1,000 people, 10% are sincere, is definitely going to make a lot of difference to this country.
I think it's a very important journey as a country we are going through.
Yeah.
And
Since this is only first meeting that was held in Chennai, some more meetings to be followed up.
yeah.
In
So just giving you a
weeks.
background.
In Hyderabad also,
Yeah.
it is likely to be another session by all southern chief ministers.
Yeah.
Let us see
So
how
delimitation, topic of delimitation is going to go down till the next election, which is 2029. Now, how each of the parties or how the regional parties are going to respond is going to be very important. How they're going to respect the population measures which the South took in terms of reducing the population, and the government said you're going to be rewarded. So that has to be kept in mind. At the same time, do we require to incur much more cost on the existing system what we have, because one MP is equal to X number of crores, or the kind of the cost we're going to spend on that particular MP. Is it necessary at this stage of the what a country's journey is very important. And the time when we are talking about digital and AI, okay, are we going to become more people-centric or we're going to be system-centric is very important. So I think we need to look at it in a very larger perspective. I'm sure at least for now, our politicians think very sensibly rather than looking at like a politician largely to benefit their own parties or people. So you should look at what a country as a large, and I'm sure I think they come up with a proper formula to keep everybody happy. End of the day, whoever is a politician, if they are not voted by the people, then they are not leaders.